My name is Cindy Cisneros, licensed professional counselor, certified creativity coach, successful but unfulfilled, finding your way back to creative work that feels like you. Most measures, you succeeded, but something feels off. The passion that once drove you has faded, you feel exhausted, you feel restless, maybe just a quiet sense that something is missing. What if this dissatisfaction isn't just burnout, but a sign that a deeply creative part of you has been overlooked? If this is something that resonates with you, stick around for the article or listen to the vlog version. We're going to dive in to if you haven't found a way to bring your full creative self into your work and life in the article today. Are you a creative person without realizing it? Something that I talk about a lot in my content is that creativity isn't just about painting, writing, or performing. It is also a way of thinking, seeing the world, approaching problems. Psychologists can define creativity as the ability to see and generate novel ideas, make unexpected connections, that some people are naturally wired in a way that they may never have considered to be creative, even if they do or don't consider themselves artists. So coming back to the main topic, if you feel drained, unmotivated, or restless in your career, it could be because your creative nature has pushed that aside. There are some traits in the article that I've gone over in many of these videos and many of the articles that I've released that you can look at if this is your first time or if you want a refresher about creative personalities, and that creative personalities carry, but some of them are big picture thinking, a need for meaningfulness in your life, desire for autonomy, sensitivity, and emotional depth. Read more about them in the article. What are some signs you may be a suppressed creative experiencing career burnout? If you're unfulfilled in your work and it's hard to put your finger on why, it could be more than stress. It could be that your job is overall stifling your creative nature. Here's some key indicators you might be seeing. Do you feel drained even after a normal workday? No matter how much sleep you're getting? Does your work feel monotonous, meaningless? Things that maybe felt engaging at one time feel tedious? Do you struggle to find purpose in what you do? Do you daydream about doing something different, but you're not quite sure what that would look like? You imagine doing another career or another lifestyle, but can't quite define what would feel fulfilling? Do you crave more freedom in how you work? Is your job structure very rigid? Does it feel suffocating? Do you long for more flexibility and autonomy? Have you lost, this is a big one, interest in your hobbies or creative outlets? Are you so exhausted from your work that it spills over into your personal life, leaving you uninspired? Do you feel disconnected from your true self? Is there a nagging sense that the person you are at work isn't fully you and you have to dull certain parts of yourself to fit in? Do you have a growing frustration with rules, bureaucracy, corporate culture? The more you try to follow expected paths, the more you feel like something is off. This is starting to sound like you. Let's talk about why it happens. Many people experience this career fatigue, but for creative minds, this type of burnout can run deeper. If your work environment doesn't align with your natural way of thinking and being, it can feel like you're constantly swimming against the current. And here's some reasons why. For you, the energy mismatch. Creative people thrive in dynamic, stimulating environments. And if your job is repetitive and overly structured, lacks space for new ideas, it can really sap your energy. A big one is poor work-life balance. When work takes up all your time and leaves no room for creative expression, it can feel suffocating and burnout can set in quickly. Toxic work environments. Your creativity flourishes in supportive open-minded spaces. If you're in a high-pressure, judgmental, or over-competitive setting, it can be emotionally and mentally draining. Value misalignment is such a big one. If your personal values are not reflected in the job that you do, you can feel increasingly disconnected from your work. Lack of autonomy, we've touched on a little bit. If you're in a job that micromanages or stifles you, you can feel especially restricted. No room for growth and evolution, we've talked about a little bit. You may feel stuck even if you're successful per your career or per traditional definitions, right? So if any of this sounds familiar, your burnout could not just be about being overworked. It could be a sign that your creative nature needs more room to breathe. So let's talk about how you can start to make a change. But I also want to give you a little bit of light on how this could have happened to you in the first place. As creative individuals, we're often taught from a young age, and I think most of us are taught from a young age, but especially creative people feel fitting in with mainstream expectations is what we're supposed to do. And so we may have been told that for us as creative people, that means changing aspects of ourselves, especially things that make us feel unique so that we can be more acceptable. And it can be especially strong for those of us who are naturally empathetic and perfectionistic because we want to be good. We want to meet the needs of others. We want to be seen as competent and capable. And empathy and perfectionism are large qualities of creative people. And this can lead us to suppress our authentic needs so that we will meet expectations. So in many ways, we are being groomed to believe that creativity is extra and it's something that comes second to stability, achievement, or fitting in with societal norms, when actually they go hand in hand, they go together. So for years, we push down our creative urges. We tell us that our personal fulfillment will come later. We'll get back to it once we've made it, once things settle down. But over time, the creative needs don't disappear. They just show up in other less productive ways, like you may see in yourself, if you've been trying to fit the mold and shoving these things down, emotional numbness. You've been ignoring deeper needs for too long. You feel like a part of you is shut off. You may not even be connected with what has brought you joy in the past, what your hobbies and passions are. They could feel distant or hollow. Overwork and exhaustion. You're striving for perfection to meet everyone else's expectations, but you're not meeting or connecting with your own, so you feel depleted or burnt out. Anxiety and depression is one I see a lot. This constant internal conflict between who you are and who you think you can be can lead to, or who you think you should be, can lead to overwhelming stress, anxiety, and feelings of depression. Lack of meaningfulness is one I see a lot too. When your work and life are built around external goals that don't resonate with your own core values, you can find yourself asking, like, is this all there is? And a life without that creativity or purpose can feel like this never-ending cycle of going through motions. So you could think, right, these internal messages of, well, I'm just not cut out for anything else, or I'm stuck in this rut that I can't escape. But you're really experiencing this mismatch between expectations you've been conditioned to meet and the creative self that you've buried. So if you feel like your life has lost its spark, it could be because you silenced things about yourself that reflect needs that you have for too long. And it's possible that reconnecting with them could lead to meaningful and important shifts for you. Let's talk about the rise of the creative entrepreneur. Now, this could be very scary, but there is something happening. Embracing authenticity in a shifting world. Let's talk about some things that are happening. In the past few years, there have been seismic changes in the way that many people have viewed work, identity, purpose, especially amongst creative people, which in many ways is a really exciting time. And I believe, this is a personal belief, and there are some articles that back this up, that, and I've released some myself too, that COVID-19 pandemic forced many of us, and lots of the things that have come afterward, but I kind of see COVID as a benchmark that in time that many things happened around, to pause and reflect and reassess how we want to spend our time and energy. The period of uncertainty that COVID, in my mind, benchmarks, but other things, of course, many other things are attached and related to. Benchmarks this period of uncertainty that led to a new understanding for many of what truly matters: personal fulfillment and authenticity, the importance of living in alignment with your true self. So a key shift that emerged in the post-pandemic world is this rise in creative entrepreneurship. More of us realizing that we're creative, realizing we don't have to fit in traditional career molds, realizing that there are other ways to be successful, taking ownership of ourselves and our work, carving out new paths, and embracing authenticity in our business. Some of the ways you might have spied this: the silent quitting movement. We all may have different feelings about this, but it gained traction during the pandemic. There was a growing desire to step back from an overwork culture and performative success, a rejection of the expectation that you have to sacrifice your well-being and personal fulfillment for paycheck or status. But for creatives, this movement started to be a wake-up call that burnout is not a badge of honor, that a life of meaning and creativity and balance is not only possible, but essential. So since then, and in the past several years, creative entrepreneurship has been flourishing. More people are taking the leap to start businesses to reflect their passions. Artists have been launching online businesses more. Writers and coaches have been building thriving independent practices. And there are expanding creative professions in ways that maybe we didn't imagine or see before. The current economic and social climate also makes it a good time for the creative entrepreneur, with the rise of digital platforms, social media. When used correctly, I've recently released an article with pros and cons of social media. Remote work is another touchy subject, but there are advances in remote work that have made new options possible for us. And there are more opportunities than ever to monetize your talent, build personal brands, and reach global audiences. If you consider, for example, the gig economy, while challenging, there is flexibility and autonomy that can suit creatives who want freedom over rigid structure. Now, that's just one example. And again, all of these things can be debated and are controversial, but that is just one example. Additionally, societal shifts towards valuing diversity, authenticity, and purpose-driven work align perfectly with the mindset creativepreneurs are looking to do things differently. Now, I could do a whole separate piece on societal shifts, valuing authenticity, purpose-driven work, and authentically made and created pieces. But that is a big reason why this is a really good time for entrepreneur and creative businesses. So if you've spent years feeling confined by conventional expectations, now is a great time to embrace the possibility of more authentic, fulfilling careers. So the door is wide open for you as a creativepreneur to thrive. You may have thought about living authentically and heard it tossed around. And it's not just a feel-good concept, it's a path towards happiness and fulfillment. And there is scientific and psychological background and data to support this. And for creatives, this means honoring your natural tendencies, nurturing your passions in a way that reflect who you are. And it's entirely possible for you. You don't need to fit into a career that drains you or keeps you from exploring your potential. You can give yourself permission to imagine a different way of working or thriving, and you deserve to be able to. Here's some ideas and possibilities on how you can take steps to make it real. And I'm going to give you a couple of different models that I have seen creatives use in the time that I have spent. I said in the beginning, I'm a coach and a therapist. That puts me in a unique position to be helping people taking these steps towards making this reality in their life. Here are some of the ways. One is, and probably the one that we all think everybody does, is the all-at-once leap. Quit your job, start fresh. Yes, you can do this. But if you're considering this path, make sure you have a clear idea of your vision and a solid plan of what that new career will look like, because it's not magic. And building a sustainable income stream from your passion can take time and will take a lot of effort. So it's essential to have safety nets in place and a plan ahead of time. Another is partnering up. If you're not ready to go alone, transitioning with a partner, whether it's a spouse, a friend, or a business partner, can provide support and shared responsibility. It works particularly well for creative partnerships like starting a collab business, running a creative studio. It can help you navigate risks, share workload, stay motivated. Planning and saving. If you are ready for a more gradual approach, start by making a plan and setting money aside to help alleviate some of the stress that comes with switching career. Now, obviously, the cons is this is a hurry up and wait method, but the pro is it involves maintaining some stability and giving yourself time to test the waters. Another option is the side hustle with the gradual transition. For many creatives, this is the most natural transition. It involves you keeping your corporate job while launching a side hustle so you can build your business while maintaining the steady income of your full job. Now, the negatives of this obviously are time and energy, but the pros of this is lower risk as you transition from one to the other. Couple more examples. Hybrid model, creative focus with corporate flexibility. You do both. Now, obviously, the pros of this is you don't have to give up one for the other. You can kind of keep some stability while adding the creativity in. The negatives are, how are you going to balance this? So are you going to be part-time and then freelance? Or are you going to find a flexible corporate job so that you can dedicate significant time to your creative endeavors? This is a little bit of the unicorn model, but it's possible. And it's something that you might have to design for yourself or spend some time really finding and making work, but it allows you to maintain some stability without having to fully commit to the corporate grind. And this is the most creative one, I think, is taking sabbaticals or career breaks. Could you conceivably come up with a way to take a formal career break or sabbatical, using this time to explore other passions or deep dive into your creative work? And does this give you enough energy to return back to a career? These options kind of allow you to dip your toes into your creative career, come to a way to make a shift from one or to the other. There's no single way to transition from a corporate life into a more gradual or to a more creative path. One thing that I recommend to you is ask people who have done it or are doing it. And depending on what you want to do and where your creativity lies, talk to people on that stage. If you are a dancer, talk to dancers who have done it and how they've done it. If you're a painter, talk to painters who have done it and how they've done it. Writer and so on, and get data and ask questions and start piecing together what makes sense for you. I am also going to give you a tool of my own that I have spent years developing specifically for this purpose. I started developing it during COVID, and it is your tool for transition from me to you, and it starts for $0 because when we start this trip, I know we need information and we don't have pennies to set aside for it. We just have the dream that this is something we really want to do. So I'm going to give that to you, and please take advantage of it and just get the knowledge, because what's important to me for you is you have enough information in the beginning to make good investments and good choices as you move forward of how you want to spend your time and energy and assets. So it's called the Creative Empowerment Pathway. It's designed specifically for artists and creatives so you can think about and make good decisions about starting your entrepreneur business, however you want to do it. And it all starts with the free Creative Kickstart, a no-cost resource where you're going to get core knowledge to start a creative business, whether it's a side hustle, whether you want to transition to full-time, or whether you just want to take some first steps. This is a perfect place to start. Once you've finished the Kickstart, you can continue to the Creative Empowerment Pathway, which is an affordable, artist-led coaching system that guides you through building a sustainable, successful business. There's 3 clear steps for success on the pathway. 1 is you learn the business fundamentals. You'll continue the learning that you started so that you get a solid understanding of what it takes to run a creative business in today's world. And you'll get started doing that. And 2, you'll get coaching from advanced students. As you continue, You will receive support from advanced students within our community. This allows you to connect with others who are on a similar path and grow with the guidance of those who have walked the road before you at an affordable price. And 3, earn while you learn. As you progress, you'll have the opportunity to earn early income in your new business by supporting other artists. You'll not only build your business, but also advance through coaching and supporting fellow creatives. So you start with learning for free, and then you end with earn while you learn, while you launch. So the Creative Empowerment Pathway is an ongoing cycle of learning, growing, and earning, all while building a supportive community of fellow creatives who understand what it takes to succeed. I would love for you to get started for free today. All you need is your dream and the belief that you're capable of making it happen. Don't wait. Your creative future is waiting for you. I hope this was helpful, and I hope to see you around in more of these videos and trainings.